At 3 a.m. local time on June 6, 2025, 17 Ukrainian OSA drones descend on Angles Air Base like predators closing in on a wounded animal. They've been flying for 6 hours straight, crossing 750 kilometers of hostile terrain. No GPS, no communication between them, and no human input for the past half hour. In mere moments, their AI systems will show how a swarm of DIY machines assembled with parts from AliExpress can cripple a $500 million air defense network and ground a fleet of nuclear bombers. The lead drone's thermal camera locks onto the heat signature of the fuel depot. But this isn't some amateur hour operation. That camera feeds data into a neural network trained on over 10,000 satellite images of the Kristallal fuel depot. The AI doesn't just recognize the site, it understands it. The layout of tanks, pipeline routing, pressure zones, everything. Through the drone's grainy 614 by 480 thermal feed, 4 massive circles shine white-hot against the night-chilled Earth. The AI outlines each tank, tags them with IDs, and runs a thermal analysis. That 3.6° difference tells the whole story. Tank 4 was recently filled, meaning high vapor pressure, maximum volatility, and the highest explosive potential. Here's where things get unnerving. Every one of the 17 drones performs this same analysis, independently. No centralized controller, no votes. Just 17 identical AIs arriving at the same conclusion. Tank 4 is target number 1. And the coordination doesn't stop there. Each drone tags its approach path with its serial number. Drone 1 attacks from heading 270 degrees, Drone 2 from 275 degrees, and so on, each with a 5-degree offset, just enough to avoid collisions while ensuring overlapping blast effects. Imagine 17 people throwing stones at the same target, each from slightly different angles, close enough to land solid hits, far enough to avoid hitting each other. As they close in on the base, their hijacked Russian SIM cards cling to a weak cellular signal, barely 1 bar. At this range from the Ukrainian border, they're losing contact. In 30 seconds, once they drop below 50 meters for their final approach, they go completely autonomous. The human operators in Kyiv will become spectators. Each drone's Chinese-made flight controller, a cheap $89 Pixhawk knockoff, calculates collision avoidance 10 times per second. Ultrasonic sensors maintain a 2-meter bubble around each aircraft. When wind or turbulence pushes them too close, tiny course corrections keep them flying in harmony. So far, it's worked flawlessly. All it has to do is hold another 5 minutes. At 10 kilometers out, the loose formation tightens. What was once a chaotic flock reorganizes into a deadly grid, an attack formation. Picture a flock of birds suddenly snapping into a perfect V. Not to conserve energy, but to maximize damage without interference. The AI has already calculated the most effective impact zones based on structural weaknesses in the tanks. 7 drones ascend to 80 meters to strike the thinner roofs. 5 hold altitude at 50 meters to target the upper tank walls, where fuel vapor builds. The last 5 dip to 30 meters to hit the lower tank shells, where welding seams offer the least resistance. At 3:01 a.m., the S-400's radar beam sweeps the sky, scanning empty space the drones occupied 2 seconds earlier. The operator sees nothing. The drones are below the radar's horizon, hidden by Earth's curvature. But something doesn't feel right. The sky's too quiet. No commercial flights, no cargo planes, not even birds. Inside the lead drone's onboard memory, a countdown timer ticks away. At a specific GPS coordinate, the autopilot takes over. No human can intervene now. No jamming can throw them off course. The drone follows its final instructions with robotic resolve. Aim at Tank 4. Maintain 42 meters per second. Detonate on impact. At 3:02, the cell signal drops to 0 bars. All 17 drones switch to full autonomous mode. 17 payloads, 17 mines, each with a target. Nothing can reason with them, fool them, or stop them now, short of a miracle. As they close on the depot, they face a defense system worth more than Ukraine's entire drone program. The first barrier, an S-400 missile battery positioned 3 kilometers northwest of the target. This system, priced at $500 million, boasts the capability to intercept ballistic missiles in space, stealth jets at 400 kilometers, and low-flying cruise missiles. Its 92N6E radar pumps out enough energy to roast a turkey from 10 kilometers. But radar physics doesn't care about price tags. At 50 meters altitude, the drones remain invisible until just 28 kilometers out, in ideal conditions. Tonight, ground clutter from buildings and atmospheric distortions cut that range to 20 kilometers. Radar hates clutter. Trees, buildings, temperature layers, anything can scatter signals. It's like looking for your phone after someone cleaned up your apartment. You know it's there. You just can't find it. When the drones finally show up on the radar, defenders will have less than 5 minutes to react. That's plenty of time if you're tracking a fighter jet. It's hopeless when you're dealing with a swarm that barely registers. The S-400's threat recognition software cycles through its database of 10,000 known aircraft and missile signatures. It can easily spot an F-15. It's ready for cruise missiles. But a hobby drone with the radar signature of a large pigeon moving at the speed of a crop duster? It doesn't even register as a threat. Even the backup systems struggle. 4 Pantsir S-1 units form a defensive ring around the depot. Each costs $15 million and bristles with 12 missiles and twin autocannons. On paper, they can take out missiles with surgical precision, but their radar systems require a minimum target size 0.1 square meters. The OSA drones? Just 0.1. Technically, it's not impossible to hit something that small, but it's like trying to shoot a mosquito with a sniper rifle. Thermal imagers might spot the drones, but even then, the missile guidance systems can't maintain a solid lock. And if they do launch, the proximity fuses are tuned for jets and missiles. Metal, not plastic. Often, they don't even detonate. GPS jammers? Useless. The drones don't use GPS. Their navigation is old school. Magnetic compass, inertial sensors, and dead reckoning. You can't jam a system that doesn't listen to your signal. It's like trying to hack a typewriter. Back in 1962, when the depot was built, the tanks were spaced 30 meters apart, close enough to share maintenance gear, far enough to survive a conventional bomb. But that was in the era of B-52s, not drone swarms with surgical precision and shaped charges. The depot's fire suppression system looks impressive on paper. Green lights for 50,000 liters of foam, nozzles every 10 meters, heat sensors everywhere. What the lights don't show is the foam concentrate's expiration date, the clogged nozzles, and the fact it was built to handle a single tank fire, not a synchronized assault. By now, the drones are just 15 kilometers out. On radar scopes, operators see the usual visual noise. Birds, heat pockets, random flickers. Hidden in that noise, 17 very real threats fly in perfect formation. At 3:03, one Pantsir operator sees something odd, a slow-moving contact at 50 meters, speed 151 km/h. Too slow for a missile, too fast for a bird, too low to be friendly. He pans the turret, maximum zoom. A blurry thermal shape appears, 4 rotors, a plastic body, not in the database. Then another, and another. 17 contacts, 3 kilometers wide. He hits the auto-engage override. No more waiting. The first missile roars from its tube, Mach 2.8 in 3 seconds. But the drone's tiny signature causes a radar hiccup. The missile's guidance system can't get a clean lock. At 2.1 kilometers, the fuses makes a call. Too small, not a threat. It sails past, missing by 3 meters. Close enough to make the drone shudder, but not enough to stop it. Another missile fires. The drone dodges with a pop-up maneuver. Climbs, drops, throws off the guidance computer. Another multi-million ruble shot disappears into the dark. Other Pantsirs open fire. Tracers fill the sky. Missiles fly, but they're chasing phantoms, hitting a drone-sized target with autocannons from 3 kilometers. Like trying to shoot a fly in a hurricane. Most shells self-destruct mid-air. The Tor M2 activates, but again, the drones are below its effective range. The radar flickers. Targets appear, vanish, reappear. Not stable enough for a lock. At 3:06, pure luck strikes. A missile hits a drone during a turn. It explodes, shredded by tungsten fragments. 1 drone down, 16 left. Now within 3 kilometers, missiles are useless. Cannons are risky. They're aimed right over the fuel depot. 1 stray round, and defenders might do the drone's job for them. The swarm adjusts formation. Some climb, some drop low. It's not chaos, it's math. At 3:07, the defenders are nearly out of ammo. Gun barrels glow red-hot. The only thing left to do is watch. At 3:08, the lead drone crashes into Tank 4. the shaped charge warhead rips through the steel roof and detonates in the fuel vapor chamber. What follows is not fire, it's detonation. A pressure wave moves at 2,800 meters per second. The roof flies off like a 15-ton discus. Walls fold outward. Fire floods containment berms. Seconds later, other tanks ignite. Fire suppression activates. Foam sprays, useless. It runs out in 90 seconds. Temperatures reach 1,800 degrees Celsius. Fire crews can't approach within 500 meters. Fuel lines rupture. Emergency shutoffs melt. The fire grows. At 3:18, Tank 6 suffers a bleed, a boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion. It doesn't burn, it detonates. This is no ordinary fuel. This is aviation-grade fuel for Tu-160 and Tu-95 MS bombers. Special additives make substitution nearly impossible. For the cost of a Moscow apartment, Ukraine just neutralized a fleet of strategic bombers from 750 kilometers away. Now, every airbase commander in Russia is asking the same question. If a plastic drone can fly 600 kilometers, and Moscow is just 700 away, what's next?